Hi, I am Dr. Abhishek Joshi, and in this video lecture we are going to discuss about the optical fiber waveguides. So we have to start with the ray transmission theory. So in the ray transmission theory we have the optical fiber waveguide. So optical fiber waveguide is nothing but a dielectric waveguide. It may be a glass or a plastic of cylindrical geometry with a core and the cladding of suitable material. Suitable material may be a glass or plastic which can be used. So the refractive index of the core is greater than the refractive index of the cladding. Okay. So here we have the concentric cylinders, solid cylinders made up of glass or plastic, where the refractive index of core N1 is greater than N2. So this is generally used, and the center cylinder is known as core, the outer cylinder, solid cylinder, is known as cladding. So figure shows the optical fiber waveguide showing the core of refractive index N1 surrounded by the cladding of slightly lower refractive index, that is N2. Now we define the basic fiber structure. So basic fiber structure is having an optical fiber, basically is a solid glass rod surrounded by the concentric glass shell. So here we have the core, then we have the cladding, concentric cylinder, and the outermost is the buffer coating. So these three are the concentric solid cylinder made up of the solid glass. So the rod is called the core. So we are calling this the rod as a core is made up of highly purified glass. Most of the light energy is confined in the core. So maximum light energy is traveling in the core itself. The glass shell called the cladding, and the cladding shields optical field as not to get interfered by the outer layers of the fiber. The cladding is an essential part of the optical fiber. The cladding is surrounded by the buffer layers. These layers have no role in the propagation of light. They are essentially there to provide the mechanical support to the glass fiber and to protect the fiber from external damage. So what is the basic principle of transmission? The basic principle of transmission in optical communication is the total internal reflection, also known abbreviated as TIR. So here we will discuss about the critical angle using the Snell's law. So basic law of ray theory or the geometric optics, the basic law of ray theory are quite self-explanatory. In a homogeneous medium, light ray are straight lines. So we are denoting the straight lights as a straight line. The light may be absorbed or reflected. So reflected ray lies in the plane of incidence, and the angle of incidence is equals to the angle of reflection. So if the light reflects, we are saying that if we are drawing the normal to the surface, the reflected angle will be equal to the incidence angle if there is a reflection. At the boundary between the two media of different refractive indices, the reflected ray will be lying in the plane of incidence. So when we are talking about refraction, refraction means when light travels from one medium to another medium, it is called as refraction. So this is nothing but refraction of light, where the light is traveling from top to down with an angle. For example, incidence angle is theta I and refracted angle is theta refracted. So this varies with the refractive index. The angle may vary. The Snell's law will give the relationship between the angle of incidence and the angle of refraction. So here we have the mechanism of total internal reflection, where we have, now considering the first case, that is a light ray incident on a high to low refractive index interface, that is the glass and the air. So So the first part we are discussing is the refraction. So this is nothing but a refraction, the case of refraction, where the light from the glass, so here we have the high refractive index glass, that is N1, and this is the incidence ray. Now the light is traveling from glass to the air, so it will move away from the normal. So when the light travels or exits from high refractive index to low refractive index, because air is having the low refractive index, that is N2 is equals to 1, then the light ray will move away from the normal. So we have the normal, so it will move away from the normal. So this means that theta 1 is less than theta 2, or phi 1 is less than phi 2. So here we have the exit ray. The next case is a limiting case of refraction, when we are saying that the critical ray at an angle phi c. So when the light from high refractive index to low refractive index hits at this point between the interface, there will be at a critical angle, that is phi c, the angle, instead of refraction, it is reflected back to the same medium. So this is known as the critical angle. Then the third case is the total internal reflection. So here we have the light here as well, and some partial light is reflected. The third case is the total internal reflection, or you can say TIR. So this total internal refraction, where the phi is greater than phi c, that is critical angle, then the entire light is reflected back to the same medium. So here we have the angle of incidence as phi, the same angle will be subtended, that is phi. Now according to the Snell's law, the refraction can be represented as, so we can write according to Snell's law, that is N1 sine phi 1 is equals to N2 sine phi 2, or we can write, or rearranging in terms of this, that is sine phi 1 by sine phi 2 is equals to N2 by N1, where N1 is the refractive index of the first medium, phi 1 is the angle of incidence, phi 2 is the angle of refraction, and N2 is the refractive index of the second medium. So this is the Snell's law. So now we will define the critical angle. So when the angle of refraction is 90 degree to the normal, the refracted ray is parallel to the interface between the two media. So when the line becomes parallel between the interface between the two media, we are calling it as a critical angle. In this case, the incident angle is called as the critical angle. So at the incident angle at which we are talking about, so this case we are talking about, which is the critical. So here we are talking about this case, which is the critical angle. So here we have this angle is 90 degree. So angle of incidence is phi c. So this is the critical angle. So when we are substituting, that is N1 sine, so I am rewriting it again, that is N1 sine phi c, that is equals to N2 sine phi r, where phi r is equals to 90 degree. So when we are substituting this, what we get, that is N1 sine phi c is equals to N2 sine 90, and sine 90 is 1. So we can rewrite it as, that is sine phi c can be written as N2 by N1. So at the critical case we have written, that is sine phi c is equals to N2 by N1. So if the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle for a given setting, the resulting type of the reflection is called the total internal reflection, that is TIR, and it is the basic of optical fiber communication. So here we can see that we have the high refractive index code, that is N1, and the low refractive index cladding, that is N2. So we have the multiple total internal reflections, and the light is propagated through the core, that is a high refractive index core, and the low refractive index cladding here we have. So here we have the TIR, total internal reflection, here we have the TIR, and here we have the TIR, and due to the multiple reflections the light propagates in the fiber. So here we can see when we are drawing the normal at the point of reflection, then the angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection in all the cases. So the transmission of the light ray in a perfect optical fiber we have discussed. Now we are denoted this light with the help of the straight line. So we can see that there are multiple reflections where we have N2 as cladding and N1 as core. Now what is the acceptance angle? Because we have to feed the light from the source may be LED or laser. Now we have to feed the source or feed the light from the source to the fiber. So at which angle we have to feed it? So we have to define the acceptance angle. So the angle at which this refraction occurs is crucial, because this particular angle will dictate whether the subsequent internal reflections will follow the principle of total internal refractions or not. So we have defined the conical half angle. So conical half angle means from the source, when we are drawing the axial line through the core. So this is the axial line through the core, and the angle subtended by the axial line to the light ray is known as the acceptance angle, that is theta A. So let us consider two cases, that is we have given the ray A and we have given the ray B. So when we are using the ray B, so as we can see the light exits from the core to cladding, but when we considering the case of ray A, there are total internal reflections. Okay. Now we will define that how this acceptance angles is important for the total internal refraction mathematically. So first we will define only ray with a sufficiently shallow grazing angle with an angle to the normal greater than the phi c at the core cladding interface are transmitted by the total internal reflection. So it is clear that not all rays entering the fiber core will continue to propagate down its length. From the figure, meridional ray, that is A, enters the fiber core at an angle, that is theta A. So theta A we are calling it as the acceptance angle at the fiber axis and is refracted at the air core interface before the transmission to the core cladding interface at the critical angle. So this ray to be transmitted by total internal reflection within the fiber core. So for a ray to be transmitted by the total internal reflection, that is TIR, within the fiber core, they must incident on the fiber core with an acceptance cone defined by the conical half angle, that is theta A. So theta A is nothing but the conical half angle, where the acceptance cones covers both the regions, that is positive as well as the negative half, the entire cone. Here the theta A is the maximum angle to the axis to which the light may enter the fiber in order to propagate, and is often referred to as acceptance angle for the fiber, where the incidence ray B at an angle. So when we are talking about ray B, here you can see the light enters the core, and due to the low refractive index to high refractive index, it moves away from the normal due to refraction, and at this point it is not greater than the critical angle. So light exits the core and eventually lost due to radiation. So light is lost. Here you don't have the multiple total internal reflections. So where the incident ray B at an angle greater than theta A is refracted into the cladding and eventually lost by the radiation. Now the solid acceptance angle, so we have to define the solid acceptance angle. For a small angles, the solid acceptance angle in air is defined as, so we can define the zeta as pi theta A square, or that is equals to pi sin square theta A, where theta A is acceptance angle. Next important term is the numerical aperture. So what is the numerical aperture? So first we have to understand that how the light enters from one medium to another medium. So here we have the medium, that is air, having the refractive index N0, the core is having the refractive index N1, the cladding is having the refractive index N2. So here we have the light ray entering from the air to the core having the refractive index N1, and this light ray hits at point B and refracted back. So there is a total internal reflection at this point B. Now the angle of incidence phi is equals to the angle of reflection, and here we can see the angle of incidence at this medium is theta 1, the angle of incidence in the core or the angle of refraction is theta 2. So the ray path for the meridional ray launched in an optical fiber in air at an input angle less than the acceptance angle for the fiber. So for a above figure shows the light ray incident on the fiber core at an angle theta 1 to the fiber axis, which is less than the acceptance angle for the fiber theta A. So the light ray enters the fiber from the medium, that is air, of refractive index N0, and the fiber core have an refractive index N1, which is slightly greater than the cladding refractive index N2. So considering the refraction at the air core interface using the Snell's law, so we can write that according to the Snell's law, that is N0 sin theta 1 is equals to N1 sin theta 2. So same we have written here, N0 sin theta 1 is equals to N1 sin theta 2. Now considering the right angle triangle ABC, now considering this triangle, that is A, B and C, what we can write? We can write phi as pi by 2 minus theta 2. So this angle is 90 degree. So phi, this angle phi can be written as 90 minus theta 2. So substituting this value, what we get? So here we have substituted, that is theta 2 we have replaced by phi minus, that is pi by 2 minus phi. So pi by 2 minus phi we are writing, so this is sin phi will be converted to the cos phi. So N0 sin theta 1 is equals to N1 sin phi. So we can write N0 sin theta 1, that is equals to N1. Sin can be written in terms of cos can be written in terms of sin as 1 minus sin square phi under root, okay, 1 by 2. So when the limiting case for the total internal refraction is considered, phi becomes equals to the critical angle for the core cladding interface. Also in this limiting case, theta 1 becomes the acceptance angle for the fiber. So this theta 1 is nothing but the acceptance angle, that is theta A, which we can write. So we know that it is pi sin square theta A. So we have sin theta A can be written as, so sin theta A. So here we replace sin theta A instead of phi 1. So it is N1 1 minus sin square. So sin square phi we have written as N2 by N1. So N2 by N1 we have written, and raised to power 1 by 2. Okay, and due to this whole square we have this case. So N2 by N1. So why we have written N2 by N1? Because we know that critical angle is nothing but the sin phi c is equals to N2 by N1 at the critical angle. So we have substituted here this value and we got that is for the 1 minus n2 by n1 whole square raised to power 1 by 2. Now further solving it, what we are getting is that is n1 square minus n2 square by n1 square in the under root. So n1 and n1 will be cancelled out, and what we get or what we left with, that is the acceptance angle is equals to n1 square minus n2 square raised to power 1 by 2. Relating the acceptance angle to the refractive index or indices serves as the basics of the definition for important optical fiber parameter, that is the numerical aperture. So numerical aperture is nothing but sine of theta a, that is sine of the acceptance angle is equals to the numerical aperture. So this can be written as n1 sine of theta c. So it is nothing but n1 sine of theta c, or we can write it is equals to the numerical aperture is equals to n1 square minus n2 square raised to power 1 by 2. So this will be the numerical aperture. So what is the significance of numerical aperture? So numerical aperture is the characteristics of an optical system. For example, the photodetector, the optical fiber, lenses are all optical systems. Numerical aperture is the ability of the optical system to collect all the light incidents on it in one area. So it is a collection of the light incident in one area. So numerical aperture of the fiber is the light collecting efficiency of the fiber and is a measure of the amount of light ray can be accepted by the fiber. So how much light can be accepted by the fiber is given by the numerical aperture. Numerical aperture. So this parameter tells us that if we take an optical fiber and put it in front of the optical source, then how much light is collected in the fiber from the source. Smaller the value of the numerical aperture, smaller the value of the minimum launching angle, and smaller is the power accepted by the fiber. So in other words, if the light is available from various directions from the source, only one portion of the light is accepted by the optical fiber and remaining part of the light is rejected by it. So the half acceptance angle, that is theta a, is given by, so we can write theta a or sine theta is equals to numerical aperture. So we can write the acceptance angle is equals to sine inverse of the numerical aperture, and we know the formula of numerical aperture, that is n1 square minus n2 square raised to power half. So sine inverse n1 square minus n2 square by raised to power half. Sometimes another parameter, that is the difference between the refractive index, that is del n, is referred to as index difference, and del n by n1 is the fractional index difference. Here delta also approximates to the fractional refractive index. So we can write delta as a fractional refractive index, and Na, that is numerical aperture, may also be given in terms of the relative refractive index difference, that is delta, between the core and the cladding. So the same we can write as, that is delta is equals to n1 square minus n2 square by 2 n1 square. Here we have, this is nothing but, that is the numerical aperture whole square divided by 2 n1 square, that is the fractional refractive, or you can say fractional index difference. So from the above equation we can write, that is the numerical aperture is equals to n1 times of 2 delta raised to power half, or we can write the approximation, that is the index difference can be written as n1 minus n2 by n1. So for delta, that is greater than less than 1. So there is one numerical based on this formula. Let us solve this numerical. So a silica optical fiber with a core diameter large enough to be considered by the ray theory analysis and has core refractive index of 1.5. So we have the core refractive index, that is n1 is equals to 1.5, and the cladding refractive index, so n2 is also given, that is 1.47. Determine the critical angle at the core cladding interface and the numerical aperture for the fiber. So the acceptance angle in air for the fiber, so we have the solution for this, the critical angle phi c at the core cladding interface is given by phi c is nothing but sine inverse of n2 by n1. So we have the 1.47, that is n2, that is cladding refractive index, core refractive index is 1.5, so we are getting phi c as 78.5 degrees. The another one is the numerical aperture. So numerical aperture can be solved as n1 square minus n2 square raised to power 1 by 2. Substituting the value, we are getting the answer as 0.3. Considering the acceptance angle in the air theta a is given by, that is sine inverse of numerical aperture, that is sine inverse 0.3, that is 17.4 degrees we are getting. So another numerical, so typical relative refractive index difference for an optical fiber designed for long distance transmission is 1%. Estimate the numerical aperture and the solid acceptance angle in air for the fiber. When the core index is 1.46, further calculate the critical angle at the core cladding interface within the fiber. It may be assumed that the concept of geometric optics hold for the fiber. So the solution for is very simple, that is theta a, that is delta, is nothing but 0.01 while using the expression. So numerical aperture in terms of theta a, that is delta, that is n2 minus n1, or you can say n1 minus n2, that is a relative refractive index difference. Here we can see delta is n1 minus n2, so same we have used. Substituting it in here, so we have the numerical aperture, that is n1, that is twice of delta raised to power 1 by 2. So here we have 1.46 is 0.02 raised to power half. So you are getting a numerical aperture of 0.21. So for small angles, the solid acceptance angle in theta is given by, that is pi theta a square, or we can write as pi sine square theta a. So here we have the value, that is 0.13 radians. So we are getting the delta for relative refractive index difference, that is n1 minus n2 by n1. So here we have 1 minus n2 by n1. So we are getting 0.99. So the critical angle at the core cladding interface is given by using the equation we have, that is critical angle phi c is given by sine inverse of 0.99 by, so 0.99 sine inverse is 81.9 degrees. Now we will discuss about the meridional ray. So what is a meridional ray? So light is to propagate inside the optical fiber. It could be through the two types of rays. So one is the meridional ray, another one is the skew ray. Now first we are going to discuss about the meridional ray. What is a meridional ray? A light is launched in the plane containing the axis of the fiber. We can then see the light ray after the total internal reflection travels in the same plane. The light is confined to the plane in which it was launched and never leave the plane. In this situation, the ray will come across the axis of the fiber, and this called the meridional ray. Means when the light ray crosses the axis of the fiber, then it is known as meridional ray. After each and every total internal reflection, the light is crossing the fiber axis, that is known as the meridional ray. Now defining the skew rays, the another possibility is that the ray is not launched in the plane containing the axis of the fiber. So for example, if the ray is launched at the same angle such that it does not intersect the axis of the fiber, then after total internal reflection it will go to some other plane. We can see that in this situation the ray will never intersect the axis of the fiber. So the ray is essentially will spiral around the axis of the fiber. So these rays are called the skew rays. So they follow the helical path around the axis of the fiber. The skew ray will not utilize the full area of the core and they travel farther than the meridional ray. They undergo higher attenuation. So this will undergo the higher attenuation when we are talking about the meridional ray. So a typical passage of the skew ray is graded index fire as shown in the figure. So as we can see, in a spiral path the light ray is traveling. So due to the multiple reflections the light is traveling, so it is following the spiral path. Here we can see the light is striking at multiple points. Okay, so the angle incident is formed by gamma. So at each and every gamma it is changing its path. So the helical part taken by the skew ray in optical fiber, we have the skew ray and the cross sectional view of the fiber. So in order to calculate the acceptance angle of the skew ray, it is necessary to define the direction of the ray in two perpendicular planes. The geometry of the situation is illustrated in the figure, where a skew ray is shown incident on the fiber core at a point A at angle theta s. Now let us discuss. So here we have the light which enters the core at the point theta A, where and forming the angle that is theta A, that is a source angle we can say. So when considering the ray between the path, that is ray between A and B, it is necessary to resolve the direction of the ray path, that is AB, to the core radius at the point B. So we have the ray that is from A to B, we have one ray, say this is A, this is B, as the incidence and the reflected ray at the point B. So we have the incidence ray and the reflected ray. So here we have AB as the incidence ray and reflected is from B point to this point. Okay, so this is the reflected ray. So here we have the angle of incidence as phi and angle of reflection as phi, because the angle of incidence and angle of reflection both are same, which is phi. In the same plane, this is simply a cos phi. So we have, when we are talking about cos phi, we have resolved this line. So if the two perpendicular planes through which the light ray, that is the path AB, traverse are considered as, then phi, that is gamma, is the angle between the core radius and the projection of the ray onto the plane, that is BRS. When we are considering the plane that is BRS, so this plane we are talking about, that is covering the axis of the core, that is BRS. So we can write normal to the core axis, which is normal to the core axis, and the theta is the angle between the ray and the line AT drawn parallel to the core axis. Thus to resolve the ray path AB relative to the radius, that is BR, in these two perpendicular planes requires the multiplication by cos of gamma and sine of theta. So we have to multiply these two factors, cos of gamma and sine of theta. So we have what we are getting, the reflection at the point B at an angle phi may be written as cos of gamma sine of theta, that is equals to cos of phi. So the ray path within the fiber core for the skew ray incidence at the angle theta s to the normal to the air core interface. So cos phi sine theta is equals to cos of phi, or cos of phi can be written as 1 upon 1 minus sine square phi raised to power 1 by 2, or under root 1 minus sine square phi. If the limiting case of the total internal refraction is now considered, then phi becomes equals to the critical angle phi c for the core cladding interface. So we can write that cos of gamma sine theta should be less than the critical angle, that is cos of phi c, and we know that the critical angle can be written as 1 minus n2 square by n1 square, 1 raised to power 1 by 2. So when we are using the Snell's law at the point A, so at point A we can write that is n naught sine theta s is equals to n1 sine theta. The same we have written here, n naught sine theta a is equals to n1 sine theta, where theta a represents the acceptance angle, or you can say the maximum input axial angle for meridional ray, and theta is the internal axial angle. Hence substituting theta sine theta as, so we are substituted here sine theta a as equals to n1 by n naught cos of phi c by cos of gamma, and this we can write it again as, that is n1 by n naught cos phi c can be written as from this equation, that is cos of phi c, that is 1 minus n2 square by n1 square raised to power half and divided by n naught cos of gamma. So we have defined the acceptance angle for the skew ray Now representing the maximum input angle or the acceptance angle for the skew ray, the acceptance condition for skew rays are given by n naught sin theta as cos of gamma is equals to n1 square minus n2 square raised to power half, that is equals to the numerical aperture, that is a light collecting parameter. In this case of the fiber in air, that is n naught is equals to 1 sin theta as cos of gamma is equals to the numerical aperture. From the above equation we can note that the acceptance angle for the skew ray is larger than the acceptance angle of the meridional ray. The skew ray are often used in the calculation of the light acceptance in an optical fiber. The addition of the skew ray increases the amount of light capacity of the fiber. So in large numerical aperture fiber, the increase may be significant, and the addition of the skew ray also increases the amount of the loss in the fiber. So the skew ray tends to propagate near the edge of the fiber core. A large portion of the number of skew rays that are trapped in the fiber core are considered to be as leaky rays. So leaky rays are predicted to be the total reflected at the core cladding interface boundary. However, these rays are partially reflected because of the curved nature of the fiber boundary. So an optical fiber, now considering the numerical based on the skew ray, an optical fiber in air has a numerical aperture of 0.4. So Na is already given to us. Compare the acceptance angle for the meridional ray with that of the skew ray, which is direction changed by 100 degree at each reflection. So we have the value of gamma, that is 100 degrees. So the acceptance angle for the meridional ray is given by the equation, that is we have from the air. So air we have n naught equals to 1. So we can write that is theta a, that is acceptance angle is nothing but the sine inverse for the meridional ray. It is for meridional ray, it is given by sine inverse of 0.4, that is the numerical aperture. So here we are getting 23.6. For the skew ray, the direction is changing by 100 degrees. So this means the value of gamma is given. So the value of gamma we can write it as the 50 degrees, because half of the gamma will be the value. So here we have the acceptance angle for the skew ray given by theta as, that is sine inverse of Na by cos of gamma, sine inverse. So simply substituting the value of numerical aperture, that is 0.4, cos of gamma is cos 50, we are getting as 38.5 degrees. So limitations of the ray theory model. The ray model gives an impression that during a total internal reflection the energy is confined to the core only. However, it is not so. In reality, the optical energy spreads in the cladding also. So ray model does not speak the discrete field patterns for the propagation inside a fiber. So light ray model breaks down when the core size becomes comparable to the wavelength of the light. So the ray model therefore is not quite justified by the single mode fiber. So in this lecture we have discussed about the ray theory of the transmission with total internal refraction. Then we have discussed about the concept of the acceptance angle for the skew rays as well as for the meridional ray. Then we have calculated and we have derived the numerical aperture, and then finally we have discussed about the skew ray. Here we are going to stop the lecture. Thank you.